welcome to Deep Perspectives. My name is Blessing Ogo. Today we gather to examine one of the most pressing conversations of our time, the role of women in governance, not merely as participants, but as influential shapers of policy, justice, and national direction. Throughout history, women have fought for recognition, inclusion, and leadership in political and governance spaces. And from suffrage movements to executive leadership, their journey so far has been marked by both groundbreaking triumphs and systemic challenges. Today in the studio, we have Mrs. Candy Olatunji, a barrister and an entrepreneur, who will be discussing with us the role of women in governance. Thank you for joining.
Thank you so much.
Tell me, what is the beauty behind that name, Candy?
I actually don't know. I think my parents just wanted our names to rhyme. Cindy, Mandy, Candy, I think.
Oh my goodness. All right, so I guess you're more like the spice of the home. Yeah, for you to own that name, Candy, because it was meant to be for like,
But they actually all have powerful meanings, including Candy.
Absolutely.
Candy has a weird meaning.
Okay. All right, that's fine. So, before we talk on today's topic, right? What does it seem to you as the role of women in governance?
Their role. I think for someone like me, I don't see gender limitations. So when we start to make it sound like, okay, what is the role of women in governance and what is the role of men in governance, I think we have missed the entire conversation on equality, because it's about competence regardless of gender. So it doesn't matter if this person is a woman, but I do think that women bring I would say, unique perspective, because there are things that there's a reality that they live in that the opposite gender obviously cannot relate to. I feel like they are better positioned to advocate for children, rights of children, youths, and also other women. So I think that's the basic thing.
Oh, great. So let's talk about the context for today.
Mm-hmm.
All right, the role of women in governance. I believe you saw the video that the president's wife,
Yes.
Her Excellency Remi Tinubu,
Yeah.
and that video was she or her appealing, for donation for the support of the library, the National Library, which she wanted to complete. So tell me, how did you see that move?
I think it's important.
Okay.
Let me land here. I feel like in Nigeria, when you see things like this, where like, is this the most important thing? Shouldn't we be doing something else? You get like, okay, this and this, something we should be doing. But I believe that education is very important. And I'm going to give like a very basic example. Because I'm an influential person, I have some like a decent amount of following on social media. And I post, when I post educational stuff, I see what people comment on the posts, and it doesn't make any sense.
Wow.
And it just goes to show, even when you come out of social media, have you ever tried to look for a staff before? A lot of people are uneducated. It's very hard to find a good staff.
I know.
A lot of young people, they don't like, when last did you actually open a book? Everybody that was successful or everybody that is successful will tell you to read books. They have like a mini library in their home. I have a mini library in my home. I read books a lot. Even if I'm in the airplane or if I'm bored, it's not all the time you're watching TV or you're doom scrolling on social media. I think that I think we need to go back to actually promoting the value of books.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of biased in her favor with regards to that.
Some other persons will say, why the National Library and not maybe something else? But then we're going to get to that part, right? Some other persons will say, why the National Library and maybe, not something else. But then I think this is like a throwback to maybe history, stories and maybe storage of information that we need to get. I believe that's what you're talking about.
No, I'm not actually talking about history. What I'm talking about is education.
Okay.
Books is very important. I feel like preserving it, we need to have like a library.
Well, at this stage, what kind of books do you think that if we preserve, it would be, important to the people now?
I feel like when it comes to library is not just, I feel like there's cultural value. I always look at the message underneath a deed or an action. See a community or I see a place where we're going to get to as Nigerians, where we value education and we value information. And there's no place, when you know this saying that they say if you don't want a black man to know something, hide it in a book. I can tell you for free because I'm a bookworm. I read a lot. And also I come from law and then health.
Exactly.
And when it comes to those places, research. And books have saved my life, literally. Books have saved my finances. Books have saved me from making stupid decisions. There are some things I can't even go to the pharmacy and buy anymore, even though they are drugs that are approved by NAFDAC. There are some things I can't do anymore. There are some things I can't put in my body anymore. Like I'm exposed to knowledge, and most of those knowledge come from books, whether the books is a digital form or a physical form. So when we talk about library, anything that is related to books, information, knowledge, education, I would definitely be biased in that favor because I feel like a lot of people are. Can I use the word I want to use?
Okay.
A lot of people are uneducated and actually dumb, to be frank. The way that they talk the way they go to comment sections, the way they talk, you try to get a staff, the way they are. I mean, you're a graduate. You're a graduate. You graduate. You're 5 years working, and you literally, even in your own field that I'm employing you for, you know nothing.
I know. I had a relative, who told me about this, and I shared with her pain. It's so sad, but then we hope that things will get better.
Yes.
Anyways, we want to wish Her Excellency happy birthday in advance. Thank you so much for that very wish. But then, let's say tomorrow you were a president's wife. So what else do you think you could add to that appeal or request? Yes.
Okay, so for me, one of the things that I would do is when it comes to environmental preservation with regards to climate change, I feel like that is one of the things that we underestimate. You understand? A lot of people that are uneducated, exactly like I said, who think that vaccines cause autism, for instance, are desensitized to the real things that are actually causing autism. People are buying cookware that are poisoned, that are lined with Teflon. People are buying perfumes that contain EDCs. People are buying paints that contain lead. You get what I mean? People are exposed to lead, people are exposed to mercury. There's a lot of toxins in our environment that comes from, this whole consumerism with production, industrialization. You get what I mean? So I think that if I was in that shoes, I would push for a more greener earth. I'll push for us to tone down our consumption. It's too much. Makeup is full of mercury. People don't even know the particular brand to buy, what to look out for in things like this. So people are getting poisoned, infertility is up over 60%. Maternal death rate is very high. Children are getting all manner of sorts of disease and sickness that people cannot even mention. You get what I mean? So I feel like pushing for a greener earth, more climate-friendly, eco-friendly initiative, you understand, would be one of the things that I would definitely strongly advocate for. We need to reduce our carbon footprint.
Yeah, thank you very much. I mean, I am seeing you talk as a health coach. Thank you very much, Mrs. Candy. All right, let's go back to education. I heard you flog a lot around, poor education.
Yeah,
people. I mean, even with the level of education that we try to keep a lot of youths out there, a lot of persons don't seem to pick what's been taught in college. Let's talk about really the things that we think that are really the challenges around that.
Okay, so my own thought process is I'm not the kind of person that waits to be spoon-fed. I go out and get what I want. But I would be pissed if should I say, the way was not open for me, or there was no room for me to do that. But if you say, okay, you don't have the money to buy books, education is poor, blah 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 blah. What is education really? There are different types of education. There's formal education. At the end of the day, what we learn in school, many of us rarely use it. Whether we studied outside the country, whether we studied outside the country or not, many of us rarely use what we studied in school. Like we had to learn whatever trade that we're in right now. You get what I mean? So that's what education is. And you can get education anywhere. So if you have a library that is available to you, like I said, when I'm looking at that initiative, I'm looking at the undertone, I'm looking at the what kind of community or what kind of culture will that library start? And that is the culture of reading.
So what happens to other libraries, that has been existing? I mean, is it that, I don't know, have you had any story of people who benefited from, the library that's been existing before now?
Like I said, I'm not the kind of person that likes to be spoon-fed. If there's a library available for me that has all the books that I need to read, who I need to read, you will see me there every day.
Okay.
You cannot blame. I feel like when it comes to, we know we have a lot of problems in Nigeria. I'm one of the people that speak against those problems or throw light on those problems. Now.
Yes, I've seen.
But I still bring a balance in that sometimes Nigerians are desensitized to what they're actually supposed to be doing, because at the end of the day, nobody's coming to save you. Whatever is available for you, you take it and you make something good for yourself. So, like I said, education and the library being available is pushing a culture of education. I'm looking at the messaging that comes from that initiative and not the physical building. And I feel like it can be, I would say, branded in a way that pushes those subliminal messaging to help people to get educated.
Yes, get used to going to make
exactly.
research.
Do research, get more information from the library.
Yes.
You understand? Make your own path by going there. You understand? School is not a scam.
Okay, that's fine. So let's get back to those challenges. Let's see. Like that the youths, we literally are facing, that you think that the youths are facing now.
Mm-hmm. I think that many of the problems that youths are facing, one of the things that they will tell you is money.
Okay.
But I want to ask you a question, Adoma. You've been around for a very long time. What do you really think makes people rich? Is information. I can give you $100 today. You're going to use that $100 to buy whatever, and you're back to zero. What are you going to do? But someone that has information, take that $100. Exactly. Yeah. I feel like information is freedom. Knowledge is freedom. Knowledge is wealth. Literally everything that makes a man. As a matter of fact, we are a sum of the knowledge that we have, the experiences. Experience is still a form of knowledge. You get what I mean? So I feel like everything still comes back to knowledge. So if you ask the average Nigerian, they'll tell you poverty. There is no money. But guess what? There are jobs. Right now, I'm looking to hire. I haven't found anybody that's qualified. There are jobs, I can tell you.
Yes.
So it still comes back to education. A lot of them are graduates. So let's not even say, okay, educate. A lot of them are graduates. And I know some people will not say, okay, it's because it's schooled outside the country. And my siblings schooled in Nigeria. At least two of my siblings, my younger siblings, schooled in Nigeria. They are not jobless.
Why is it that most times, more of the people in the diaspora, or people who study abroad, I think we tend to see more
value in education
not just education in general, in our country.
Yes, because people think that the grass is greener on the other side. And I'm not saying that you cannot actually go and see. I don't want to say it's all bad, but to be honest, now, I don't feel like when I travel. I travel to for maybe there's a conference that I was invited to, or maybe for vacation or whatever. But when you're traveling to escape poverty, what jobs can you really do? The jobs you will do cannot bring you peace of mind. You come into the credit system, exactly, hand-skilled jobs, and then you go into the credit system, which is the debt system. You get what I mean? So you have credit cards available to you, you have money available to you, you can help your family almost immediately. You can get a car, you can do all those things. But what jobs are you doing? Are you really, your stress levels are high? They call you if you pick call, you're too busy.
You need a lot to
I'm chilling. I'm chilling in Nigeria. Like most of the people that are based in Nigeria by choice, that have been out there, they are the only people that can relate.
Yes.
It's mostly the people that really don't have, and it still comes back to information. There's something you don't know. Now, there are people that go out there and they make something good at the good of their lives.
Yes.
And these are the people that again have an information that those other people don't have. You understand? So I feel like, to be honest, but I don't know. Sorry, I'm on air, but
it's okay. So I think therefore we should preach, the importance of education and how people should begin to take it seriously.
It's not really about formal education.
Exactly.
Read books. You say, leave social media, all those 2 minutes motivation, they don't have information. If you get into books, you'll be shocked.
Yes.
You'll be surprised. So if there's a library available, literally go there and you see there is nothing that frees a man. All the problem you think you have will fizzle away. There is just one information that you don't have. It's inside a book.
So you must get out there to make this research. All right. Thank you very much, Mrs. Candy. We're going to be back to you, but then we'll go on the short break, and when we're back, we continue. Welcome back to The Perspectives. We are still on the topic, role of women in governance. And I'm still in the studio with Mrs. Candy. Great. You smile so good. It's actually a smile of relief, I see. All right. Thank you very much. So let's go back to, the question, the importance of the National Library. Yes.
Yes. So I've mentioned to you before, which is the culture of reading and literacy, and we also talked about supporting education and research, because not all education has to be formal. Some things you have to go get it yourself as opposed to being spoon-fed. So now I'm going to talk about the national heritage, preserving our national heritage. A lot of people don't realize that so many things actually started in Africa. Oh my gosh, Africa is one of the most blessed yet ignorant countries, and that's the reason why, like we just said, we that have been outside actually know. You understand? Because we know what we have here. So most of those things are in the books. So it will preserve those heritage, it will preserve our history. We'll be able to know that there was really nothing those people actually had to offer us. They came to take. We had it. And if we can understand that we had it, maybe it can cause a mental shift that will help us to now start maximizing our resources. And the resources is not just food, it's so many other things.
So there's
medicine, first of all.
Okay, go ahead.
Global medicine. When it comes to medicine, Africa is rich in medicine. People don't realize that vaccination actually started a very long time ago in Africa, even though it was not officially called vaccines. So the ones that we have now from the big pharmas, they are now they're just for regulation and dosage control. But our medicine, our research, our local, oh my gosh, we have a lot.
Yeah.
We just need to get into this.
Now you remember me of my time in the school days. I had to make a paper presentation on Italy. So I spoke the medicinal importance of that. I got an award on that. Yes. So you remind me of that a lot. Yes, thank you.
So so preserving the history, the knowledge is very, very important. As a nation, we need a place where we can keep all those things so that the coming generation, even the current generation that are ignorant, can actually get into those things and actually see, and then new generations coming can actually refer to where we started from. So that is one area. Mm-hmm. So another area that I will talk about is international knowledge exchange. Obviously, when you have a national library, you get to read about places that are not here. You get to see, all those things. So basically, that's another thing. If people from outside the country, assuming our tourism gets to that place, comes to Nigeria, yes, they can actually read and see the beauty in this country, because a lot of them are actually desensitized to how wealthy we are. I'm not talking in just money. I'm saying how wealthy we are. So they look down on us. They think we are monkeys and all of that. They think we don't have water, we don't have electricity, we don't have internet. Exactly. But when there's a place where they can actually read about those things, or even read about who we were before they came and polluted our country, it was our kind hearts that were taking advantage of. Not that we were stupid and people just came to colonize us. If you literally go into the story of colonization, you would understand that it was the value exchange was lopsided.
Absolutely.
Basically. So yes. International knowledge exchange, that's another one. Another thing is policy, government policy, also law. A lot of people don't even know the law. I remember sometimes I'll be driving and someone will say, but I said they don't have the jurisdiction to do that. They can't do that. The moment I stop and I'm already talking, they know I'm a lawyer, they'll just say I'm going. Do you understand? Why? Because they know I know the law. They only take advantage of you because you're ignorant.
Know the law.
Exactly. So in national libraries, policy is there. The Constitution is there. If all those books are there, you can actually go know the law for yourself. You get. So it's very important. You don't have to be a lawyer to actually read and understand your rights. You have rights as a patient, you have rights as a citizen, you have rights in every ramification. Do you understand what I mean? So that will also help with that as well. Also, a lot of people don't even they don't even know. If you ask people what are we going to do now to save Nigeria? Many people don't even know why our dollar is getting devalued. They have no knowledge or information about the way global finance works. When something happens, just say, Tinubu, nobody can really, can you even form part of a think tank? You know nothing. Because you don't even know the source of the problem. Our reserves have been used to kind of, support the further or prevent the further devaluation of the naira. And we're almost out. In the next how many months we're going to run out of that very big amount of money. Every month, I think 1 point something billion. That's how much we have to exchange to keep the $1 at 1.5. People don't even understand global economics. People don't know financial policy. They don't even know. If you even know, maybe you can direct your anger will not just be words.
Yes.
They will be informed words.
Informed words and bringing solutions.
Exactly. So that's another thing. Government policy. You can actually take part. You can partake in government policy, but you need information to do that. You don't have that information. Go and get it.
Great. So, Brent, I love the ideas you actually just mentioned here, and basically the implication and importance of the National Library. Once again, we say a very big thank you to Her Excellency Oluremi Tinubu. Thank you so much for that initiative. Thank you so much. Yes, we have further things to talk about, but then before we wrap up, Mrs. Candy, tell me, as a barrister, right? What advocacy? Remember, we're still on the topic, the role of women in governance. So great. What advocacy roles do you think that women could also appeal for or appeal to?
First of all, I think that, and I may be excessive with this.
Wait, sorry. Before you further on, do you think that the way at which the women are treated at the Senate chambers are is actually good enough? Tell me.
When you say treated,
yes, or placed enough. Tell me the right word.
I would say they're not. We don't have enough representation. I'll just put it that way.
Okay.
We have representation in places that we think we fit in, like in the market with children with this. So I feel like we're boxed in a corner, but I feel like we can actually do more than where we're put in. So they recognize the importance of women, but only to a limiting extent. That's why I said that when we make it about gender, we have missed the entire conversation on equality. It should be about competence.
Yes.
I shouldn't take a role just because I'm a woman or just because I'm a man. Am I competent? That's it.
And I think this is an avenue for people to know how much of a high instinct women have.
Exactly.
In a gathering or in a role.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. A lot of people, most especially the men, don't even know, the IQ importance or the IQ most women carry when it comes to making decisions or
and when it comes to EQ, beyond IQ, when it comes to EQ, women are actually more emotionally involved. What they see as a weakness is actually a very big strength. I feel like women are the only gender that has had a very good handle on their emotions. Because emotions are not something you run away from. They're something you process. A woman will cry, but she will still give birth to that baby. She's not going to say, okay, oh, my life is hard, I'm not going to do it. The fact that I'm crying doesn't make me weak. That's my process. So I feel like when it comes to emotional intelligence, EQ and IQ, I feel like women have a lot to offer. So I don't want us to be limited by the boobs on our chests.
I know.
Or the lipstick on our lips. Just, do I merit it? That's it. And I also am of the school of thought that I know that when we talk about equality, we're talking about equal opportunities. But I feel like some of the people on the other side, they want to take it to the extreme to now want to treat us exactly the same way a man would be treated. That's literally not what we're pushing for. You get what I mean? So we still need some form of empathy, because even on the medical aspect, there are certain things we cannot help as women. And I feel like in those seasons, there should be some form of understanding. I mean, we're all human beings, but it should not take away from my competence. You get what I mean? I feel like we have taken humanity out of the conversation. Now we want to be robotic and say, okay, so you go on to be equality, this is how it should be. You get what I mean? I mean, you can still hold the door for a lady, you can still understand if she's in a train that she can't come to work. I still think there should be humanity should be put back into the conversation above all else, because we're really not fighting as genders. We're not fighting, we're just trying to be more represented. We're trying to be more recognized. Not that we're trying to come and take a space that doesn't belong to us.
We're also trying to let you know.
Where is the space that we're driving for? Like, come on. Don't be fights. Don't be fights.
Okay, so still on the Civic Chambers. Tell me yours. Like,
I actually said we actually score. I don't have enough information to give that score. Again, back to information. But within the limits of the information that I have with regards to what's happening in the Senate, I would say, I should rate the performance of
performance level, performance ratio of the women's
representation,
performance, or the role of the women there.
The role of the women there.
Yeah, and
I have not really, to be honest, I haven't really looked closely into the work of the women, so I cannot speak to their competence. But when it comes to general representation, I would say we definitely are not very represented. Maybe I can give that score a 4.
Okay.
A 4.
Okay, so absolutely 4,
Yes.
Yeah, I have to say this, but then I believe we can always do better.
Yes.
All right, tell me now. Let's talk about these advocacies that you think that women could also appeal to.
I would say one thing that has been taken out of the conversation, like I said, I didn't want to be extreme, is there's let me just ask this question direct. Why are condoms free and pads are being paid for?
Okay.
Because sex is a choice, but period is not. And I feel like there's so many girls out there. You have an NGO.
I wrote this article in 20.
So many girls don't have access to care items during their period for something that is not their fault. It doesn't make sense.
Okay.
So, and I know that the NGOs are the ones providing these, and many of them are actually aligned with, government entities. I think, again, I lack information in that area, which regards to like collaboration. But I know a lot of these NGOs are providing these free condoms and all of that. Why are you protecting a decision as opposed to protecting biology? Like these are
as opposed to protecting a condition
so they should,
situation.
Exactly. There should be concessions, even if you want the pads to be paid for. I believe that at this point of the conversation, do you know how much a pad costs? You can afford it, I can afford it. A lot of girls cannot afford it. And have been to those communities. I think that I think that it should be free. Like I said, I might sound like I'm being extreme, but I do believe that when it comes to, that's another thing I was saying about bringing humanity back into the conversation. I feel like when it comes to government, it's now a government of a place as opposed to government of people. These are real people with real problems. Like, it's like a mother taking care of a child. You get what I mean?
Which is a necessity.
You get, so I feel like if the people in governance or people in positions of authority and you want to take care of your children, it's just an example. I know Twitter people will come at me and say, they're not your father, they're not. That's not what I'm saying. Get the context. What I'm saying is, if we bring humanity back and realize that the Nigerians in question are people, then we'll be more sensitized to their struggles, to their pain, and we'll be able to give priority to things that need concessions, or like we need rebates, we need concession, we need slashes. If you say, okay, instead of paying 1,000, let's pass the so price. And I feel like industrialization again, many of these companies that produce these parts, you know what, let's not go there.
No, I wanted to go there because
I don't want to go there. I feel like it's like I just don't understand why everything has to be a business opportunity.
Okay, let me come here because right now the market would question. Yeah, the people in the production aspect of this would come in to say, oh, if this is not, literally planned well or handled well, we would lose this.
Mhm.
And on the other aspect, it would also fall back to, danger on the women. All right. So yeah, so I don't know. I think that this is the best place to talk about our deep perspective
Exactly.
on
But you know,
how this can be managed. I know, right? I don't even know.
Hey,
So but I think
if you can do that.
no, I think it's actually supporting and promoting family planning. But then, yes, but then,
It's a choice.
I know. I think I know what you're talking about. Yes,
It's a choice.
Okay, so good. Sure. So let's talk about how the government can literally manage this. Could it be that they should, come into match up or back up for the price rate or something for the
Yeah,
for the plan?
we're speaking hypothetically, and we
Okay.
said women. If there's anything women could advocate for, and if I was in that shoes or those shoes or whatever, this is something that I just imagine a world. Maybe it's impossible, but that is a world that I envision. That I don't think it is correct for women to be paying for pads.
I think everything is possible. So that's why we're speaking, and I believe they're listening.
Yes, yeah. I mean, if they were able to still at some point in time consider the economic state of the country and do the fuel, what was that?
Full subsidies.
For subsidies. I feel like if that was possible, because the government was sensitized to the suffering of the people, I still feel like when it comes to women in particular, that is literally one of the things that makes us women. Is there any other thing?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
So, and another thing that I would say is one thing that has really left the conversation that needs to continue is domestic abuse. I feel like we talk about domestic abuse, we have, or we claim to have helplines for domestic abuse and blah blah blah, but there's no shelter. I would imagine a world where there is a shelter for victims of domestic abuse to run to. Because at the end of the day, many of them are stuck in situations because they have nowhere to go, they have no one to help them. They feel like, okay, if I leave this person, I won't be feeding me, at least it's feeding me, that kind of a thing. So definitely a shelter for that type of thing. Because I mean, if you look at other countries, they have homeless shelter, they have shelters for these types of things as well. You get in more advanced country because there's humanity in governance. When humanity comes back to governance, we start to create things that actually help people as opposed to I'm just doing my job. I think that when it comes to doing better, there's a gap when it comes to like social and cultural impacts. There's a very big gap. Yeah. Well,
All right, thank you very much. There's a very big gap in social, cultural, and ethical, terms or aspects of the use of. Sorry, of use of what?
no, we're talking about women now. What
Okay.
women can advocate for. Like in the country, in governance generally, there's a
Yes.
social and cultural gap.
Okay.
There's a gap in social and
Of the
social and
role of
cultural
women.
impacts. Yes.
Of the role of women.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. All right. All right. Yes, there is a gap on the social, cultural, and ethnic impact on the role or of the role of women in governance today. And yes, this is myself with Mrs. Candy Olatunji speaking on these roles in better ways and how to harness this under the governance circle. Thank you very much. My name is Blessing Ogo. Thank you for watching.